So, hello everyone, ciao a tutti, bentornati su Radio Italia 1 dell'AIDE. Io sono Simone Berliat e questo è Agri Adventures. Agri Adventures è un programma che si occupa di produzioni di cibo ed agricoltura, ma abbinato a quello che è il mondo dell'ospitalità e del turismo. La giornata di oggi siamo tornati qua in McLaren Vale, siamo tra McLaren Vale e Willanga e stiamo qua a visitare Rachel McMillan, che è la proprietaria di Scoop. Ok, Rachel è australiana logicamente, quindi parla inglese e noi ci trasferiamo come al solito a parlare in inglese. Ok, so thank you Rachel for having me here today. So what I was saying to our friends, wherever they are looking at it, on the YouTube channel or on the Facebook page or on the radio, you are the owner of Scoop, right?
Right.
And you just moved over here from another location, is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
That is correct. Lovely. So, as I was saying, Agri Adventures on the Radio Italia 1 dell'AIDE, it's a program that speaks about food production and agriculture, but it's applied to what is hospitality and tourism. So what I like to do with this radio program is to make aware people in Adelaide that what is available in the area and why it's available. So not just speak about what is the product, but also why the product is over here and what we do this. Also for everyone that's following us, if you see me look in this section of the table, this is an advice from my mom, by the way. If you look at this side of the table, it's because I'm checking their audio recording, because I want to make sure that everything is running fine, because Rachel is a busy person and this is the right time to get her, but in 10 minutes or 20 minutes she has to run away. So better do one time and everything is fine. So my questions and my phone to check the audio. Okay, so tell me something about you, Rachel.
Okay, I'm originally from country New South Wales. I grew up in a family that had a holiday farm, so we actually had guests that would come and stay at our farm, and my mum would cook for them and my dad would take out horse rides. And so I have a background in agriculture and in tourism right from when I was very young. I moved to Adelaide about 20 years ago and I was in hospitality. I'd been with big hotel chains in Sydney and in Adelaide, and then went on to a new chain and opened 5-star hotels. And then things changed in Adelaide and what was happening with the hotel scene, and I decided to start my own business, which is ScoopSA.
This is a big change, I can say.
Yeah.
Like, I can see the lights. Maybe you will remember a 5-star hotel, but the rest is not really the hotel that they were expecting. But I like the fact that your family has been running a farm with a farm stay, because there is a connection with what my mother's doing in Bulgaria. So I see that there is people thinking, I want to move out. I mean,
yes.
I like the idea to work in hospitality or different industries, but a lot of people is thinking, let's have a farm and go back a little bit of lifestyle that is more natural lifestyle.
Yes.
So we said a little bit, and you moved 20 years ago over here.
Yes.
Can I ask you why? I mean,
well,
Sydney, why South Australia?
Well,
why McLaren Vale?
I didn't actually choose to move to South Australia. I met a gentleman from South Australia in Sydney, and we travelled around the world, and we were skiing a lot, and we were doing lots of rock climbing and adventure. And he was from Adelaide, and we kept coming back here as a base. And eventually, I actually fell in love with a garden that I was living at. I was in a lovely house down near the coast, and it was a beautiful old garden.
Lovely.
And I hadn't ever really gardened. I'd been too busy travelling and enjoying my career. And this was an edible garden. There was a big mulberry tree. There were fig trees. There were table grapes. It was just such a beautiful, bountiful garden. And I just went, okay, I need to do this myself, and started growing flowers and edible food for myself. So eventually we decided to buy a house, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh my goodness, I live in Adelaide.
Surprise! Surprise!
Didn't really plan this. But then his family had a lot of history in the McLaren Vale region.
Okay.
So we were coming down here a lot, going to the beaches, going to the different farms, going to wineries, and I fell in love with this region, with its diversity, with the the openness, with the space, with the culture of the area as well. And around the same time that I was coming down here, the Wollonga Farmers Market started up, which has had a massive impact on the region, positive impact. The Aldinga Arts Eco Village was being built, so the region was attracting like-minded people.
Yes, okay. So that's I've been visiting a few times the Wollonga market so far. Also been reading a little bit about the history of the Wollonga market. It was like 18 years ago it was founded or something like that. And they were the first farmer market in South Australia, by the way, is that right?
Yes, yes.
Lovely, perfect. So that's why made you move in the organic food mainly. That is the full concept. So it's more a connection with passion and location. Like it was the right spot.
Yes,
it was the right spot to do it.
Yeah, it was the right spot and the right time. My vision for Scoop was always to connect growers with chefs, and so that's where the concept of Scoop came about. There was nobody that was doing regional produce. It was actually even a new concept at the time, which I found quite extraordinary that nobody else had thought about connecting that. So the focus of Scoop to start with was just connecting growers and chefs and trying to get as much local produce onto the menus as possible.
So how many producers are you working with at the moment?
At any one time, we're probably working with about 20 different producers, but that changes throughout the years and with the seasons. So at the moment, the berry growers are just starting to come on board, and the stone fruit growers. And then in winter time, we work more with mainly vegetable growers. There's not a lot of fruit that grows around here in winter. So it depends on what season, but I would say over the years it would be literally hundreds of different growers that we would work with. And that's everything from really big farms that are in large production and selling to supermarkets and interstate, to the lady that lives down the road that's got some lovely juicy lemons on her tree, and she brings them in and I trade her for a produce box or whatever it may be, and everything in between. We also work with growers to help develop their businesses and specify what our customer needs are, so they will grow specifically for us. So it's the whole range of growers that we deal with.
It's a good thing. Like you're mainly designing a pathway, or we're connecting the local producers with the mine chain, the mine distribution chain, which is a big movement all over the planet now about local food and supply locally food. So it's really good thing. When did you start it?
It will be in December, 15 years ago.
Wow, so 15 years ago.
15 years.
How was it the beginning?
Tough. Tough, but exciting, because there was nobody else doing it. It's tough in that there was nobody that I could really, ask, how do you do it? Because there was nobody else doing what I was doing. The transport, oh, excuse me.
Oh, it's okay. Well, we know that Rachel is a busy businesswoman, sorry. So can happen.
Sorry, I will put that on.
It's okay.
Sorry.
We're going to chop it in some way, or we can leave it. It's going to be more fun.
Okay.
Okay, so you were saying there was. I've been asking about how was to start the business, because I'm developing a business over here at the moment, and I'm being part of many different startup ecosystems, and I've been speaking with a lot of mentors and businesses or people that's trying to start a business. So in some way, I like also to bring the outcomes and the feedbacks from entrepreneurs that they were not entrepreneurs and they've been facing the first phase of launching something. So I like to help other people like me to be aware. To be aware about what happened, what will happen, and then especially that it's for everyone been hard, tough, and everyone have been facing failure many times. Failures. I don't know now. What do you think? Like, you had a tough moment, or you had the luckiness to start slowly, maybe, but without having big problems? What was the experience?
Well, I think over the 15 years it's sort of been like this, and so often you feel like you're getting to a point and achieving something and you can have another obstacle come in your way. Or one of the hardest things to do is continue to focus on the vision. So as a business owner of quite a diverse business, I've done catering, we do platters, I've had a retail outlet, 14 years ago, and I said I wouldn't do that again, and here I am 15 years ago back doing it. But I feel like this is the right time and the right place in which to do it, and the community is ready for what our store is now. Perhaps they weren't back then. So one thing that I did, I guess, teach myself to do is not to get too stressed by each situation and go, at the end of the day, it'll all be okay. It's just, it is a business and it is people's livelihoods. But so far, you got the business can go like this, but you need to stay steady and you need to stay, calm and be able to, inspire staff and stay dedicated and stay focused. And so a couple of times I really had to bring the business back in and say, so the previous farm that we were on, for example, when we got there, we were doing a lot of different things, but the property was quite dilapidated. We started having problems with water supply, which is one of the biggest things in being a grower. And so instead of focusing on all the peripheral sides of the business, we just brought it back to being wholesalers and being growers. And in that case, we had to lose some income and some cash flow, but it helped us focus on what the real business was. And that was really important for a couple of years, and then we sort of got that back in a good sort of movement. And then we opened up a small farmgate outlet, which originally was just a self-serve shop. So people would come in and weigh their own product and work everything out with a calculator. And we had an honesty box, and so it was very low maintenance as a retail outlet, because retail is very big in staffing hours. We actually still have this aspect of this shop for the locals who know how to use that system. So if we're busy making coffees or whatever it may be, they're able to weigh everything themselves, use the honesty box, and off they go. And it's actually a really interesting part of our business. And people say, aren't you scared that they might steal money? And I'm just like, it's quite the opposite. Actually, people are very generous, and I think they have a sense of ownership in what we're doing, and they know often they're bringing stuff that we're trading as well. So there's an actual community ownership in this business. It's not just about myself, but it's about the whole range of people that make up the business. Yeah,
you said really three things really interesting. That this one is no more, not that the other were not, but what you just said, you remind me how in which direction it seems that we are moving the most, which is automation. All these shops now, you go in the city and you scan your own things, and then you get out. You even don't have to speak with people.
Yes.
And but you're speaking. What I see in the future is people will come because they can see someone. They can speak. They can see. Oh, how do you use this veggie? How do you cook it? We have a similar vision. To me, because unless we're gonna be people for people. Yeah, people with machine, yeah, it's gonna work for price, but
Yes.
that's not what we are happy about.
Yes,
Oh,
yeah.
but this is my feeling.
It's a disconnection, whereas what we have here is a real connection with the food, how it's grown and who grows it. And my daughter, for instance, who's 9 now, pretty much every meal that we eat, she knows, that's Bob's sausages, and that's, Brian's zucchinis, and, around the plate, we know where it comes from. We can't really say who grows the rice that we have, but generally from a meat perspective, from a cheese perspective, dairy, any vegetables and any fruit, we know who the people are that grow them. And that's how my daughter has grown up. That's how I grew up when I was younger. And I think it really is an important part of the food culture in this region, and beyond. We want to grow it beyond. Yeah,
absolutely. That is really good. The other thing you said, it was really interesting. It was like you tried your business in the beginning. You tried to differentiate quite a lot. So you opened a lot of doors, which is what I'm doing at the moment. Like I'm trying to open a lot of doors, because doing that, I can sit in the market in a way or another. I need to please some specific position in the market, and then you said after you shrink.
Yes.
So it's like that. We jump on the boat, and then we see where the water goes better, and then when we realize which is the best water, we shrink on it and we go straight on it. And then after, when the flow is well and fine, then we go back on the second opening.
Exactly.
Okay, I like that, because that is the same. It's more like, to me, it's logical. It's like something you still not knowing the best market, and then you have a lot of feedbacks.
Yes, yeah.
I think one of the important things as entrepreneur is to listen to the feedbacks, not in the point of it's me and get offended from the feedbacks, but listen to the feedbacks and try to understand why those feedbacks are coming to you, and then see if you have an opportunity of development in that direction. So I really like it. So what's happening now? I mean, I came here like 3 weeks ago, and then you were removing the roof and putting the roof back, and I was thinking, wow, that's going to be interesting in South Australian summer in a couple months or less than a month. So what's happening now?
So we relocated. We started relocating here months ago with our plants. So we actually have dug everything up from the previous property and have bought the majority of it here to Penny's Hill. And then Sarah, who's here as well today out watering, she has land at the top of my Ponga Hill, which is just down the road, where she's growing a lot of produce. And then we also have another property down at Aldinga Beach, where we'll be growing a lot of our native produce. So
you have producers, they're coming over here and they're working with you. Is it kind of office for them?
So we have producers that grow particularly for us, and some for other markets as well. But I also have staff and people that I work with who are now becoming growers themselves as well. So Sarah, for instance, who I just mentioned, she's a sheep farmer, but she works for Scoop to supplement her income, but now she's actually becoming a vegetable farmer as well. So this year, because it's a little bit cooler up there, because she has really good water, we've chosen her site to be growing all our heirloom tomatoes and eggplant and capsicum. Down here, if we look at the heat that we had last summer, it was just so intense and so extreme, and so a lot of crops were just burnt, just cooked, on the vine. The tomatoes were just boiling basically. So it's very important for us to have that diversity in being in food production, and having several different sites and different small climate zones is really important for the continuation of our food production. We do have specific things that we grow. Us as growers are specialty food growers, and our main customer is the wholesale market or the food service market, so restaurants. So chefs are constantly asking about different products, but also we develop a lot of products ourselves too, and not so much develop, but we have a constant interest in what we can get out of every plant and what products we can get out of a plant. So if you take, for instance, a radish, you can have a bunch of radish, 10 in a bunch, or we can grow it as tiny little radishes which will go directly onto the plate without being even touched by the chef. They just look beautiful and you eat them fresh in a little dipping sauce.
Crunchy.
Or you let them go to flour, and then all the flowers are edible as well. And then when it goes beyond that, there's a little seed pod that is edible, which can be cooked up.
I wasn't aware about the seed pod.
Yeah, so there is, just within the radish, there's 5 different products. So we're value adding our products all the time and looking at different ways that they can be used. So the customer drives what we choose to grow, but we also are constantly suggesting different ways to chefs of using plants and the different sort of flavours and textures and things that you can get out of different plants.
Well, that is the old school. Like that's what in Italy was, which was a chef was able and capable to understand the environment, in which direction the food production was going, and then the skill of a chef was not to say I need to have always the same square, but it was this week I'm going to use this and that and that, and the next week I'm going to use something else. And then like to me, working over here for the last 3 years, I've noticed how hard it is for a chef changing the menu constantly, because you have this pathway of communication that is always broken in some way. So you maybe made a beautiful dish that is super seasonal with that ingredients, and it ends on the plate, on the table, and the waiter doesn't know about these ingredients. And because of that, the information and the knowledge get cut. And at that point, the customer point out, I want to have a sauce. And I say, no, doesn't work like that. Don't do that. No, it's not the time. It's the way that, you know. And I want to have these. And they speak about a veggie that is not off season. Is coming from another country. And they don't know about these things. So I strongly believe that people like you are helping to maintain a knowledge. This knowledge of this connection with the planet, with the soil, and then also help to give the value. Because when somebody walking in a shop like this, they are considering to be open-minded. This is a farmgate shop. So it's a place where people come to learn things and enjoy things, not coming because they want to have oranges in the full summer.
Exactly.
And so that's why actually I came over here. And you probably remember when I was managing Oxenberry Farm, the first buyer where I bought vegetables, it was you. Because I was happy, you know, things that were coming in and testing, oh, that's different, I'm finding it tastes like something. Then I had to change, unfortunately, the supply chain. And but still that, like you see, I'm back. In a different point of view, but I'm back. Okay, so you moved over here in Penny Hills, and you moved, I believe, because the location, we are on the Main Street over here, so you were expecting to have more tourists coming over, or what you were expecting? Like, why do you choose over here?
Well, when we decided to leave the previous property, I looked around for the right place to go. And as I said, from a growing perspective and growing our product, it was very important, the water and the climate. But from a tourism perspective and from a retail perspective, as you say, this is Main Road. There's a gin bar next door.
Oh, okay.
There's a cellar door.
Interesting.
Further down. And there's a constant flow of tourists in this area. So it's not just our regular customers that are now coming and eating and shopping here, but we get a lot of people who are just wandering in, and so they get an experience of food from the region. They see some beautiful products. There's lots of things that we have, so we've changed the orientation of the shop a little bit to have more gift style products as well, so people can take home some beautiful honey from Kangaroo Island, for example, and it's a more, I guess, diverse experience now. We also have always looked at doing tours on our farm.
Okay.
And it's always been part of the vision, but organising that has been, something that just hasn't got done. So thanks to meeting yourself, this is something that we can do now. And I guess that brings me to the point that this now is a business that's working with Penny's Hill Winery. We work with the gin bar. We work with students, which I haven't mentioned previously, but we have horticultural students that work within the business, and they're doing practical on-the-job learning.
Cool.
So, one of the obstacles of a business these days is obviously cash flow and efficiencies and scale. So by working with other businesses and partnering, that's how we're able to continue to thrive.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, as well as a business owner, you get sort of trapped in your ways and thoughts, and particularly if you're on your own, and how do you do things. Whereas if you're partnering with other people, listening to that feedback, listening to their ideas, having their areas of expertise that can help you in certain areas, it all makes to having a more robust, long-term, sustainable business.
Absolutely. And this is actually why I designed AgriAdventures platform, because unless being only one business, really only on yourself, or you have a lot of money to be like, or it's really tough, it's really hard, because well, over here, as you said, you're in McLaren Vale. McLaren Vale is a touristic region, therefore tourists are passing by. You need just to pull out a sign, and then they're gonna maybe one every 10, but it's still good, one. How much money you have to invest if you are not located in a touristic area to drive people in. Like, that is the difficult thing. That's why, to me, AgriAdventures is really important, because it allows businesses that they have a small scale size to be at the same level than the big one, because they are all part on the same platform. So when I've been traveling, I've been visiting South Australia in many different directions, and to me was always not upset, but it was sad that it was not possible for me to get in contact with the direct producers. Like, I went to visit Flinders Ranges, and then on the way up, I love it, but I couldn't find where to buy vegetables or food. Like, I ended myself to go and buy food from one of the big chains, which is nothing wrong, but really, how many businesses are on the way up that I could simply stop, buy something and go. And this is something that people are looking for. I'm looking for, you probably are looking the same. Like, learn about the story behind, but also having this tiny spot where go and enjoy the real connection. So AgriAdventures platform allows to have businesses there jump all together on the same platform. And if it doesn't work for you for a couple of months, but it's working for somebody else, but they are keeping the platform running. So there is a balance, a constant balance, where in the end we work all together to develop this local food production, which is one I believe it's really important for the future. So, well, at this point, what are you going to do over here? I mean, apart than selling veggies, do you have any plan yet for your experience, like, or touristic, or what were you looking? You spoke about tourism. What would be the...
So the first option that we're looking at is edible garden tours. So, as I said previously, we specialty growers in edible flowers, rare herbs, beautiful cress. So we would like to be able to take, whether it be somebody from Wollonga or somebody from Sydney, on a food tasting experience through our garden, and explain why we've chosen certain plants, what the use of that is, let them for themselves actually taste things. And it's really interesting. There's a borage flower, for example, which is a little purple flower, and to me it tastes like cucumber, and to some people it tastes like oysters.
Ooh, wow.
Which are two very, very different flavors.
Yes, they are.
But it's quite distinct how people will go, oh, that's just like oyster, oh, that's just like cucumber. So I had students, as I said, this morning from the local high school who are all agricultural students, and I did a tour with them, and they were all listening to me. The teacher said, oh, they don't have a very long attention span, don't talk for too long. And they were all listening quite intently, but the minute they started tasting things, chat, 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 and a lot of excitement and a lot of, they'd never eaten flowers before. And then we were eating radish pods, and then we were eating the cress and the peppery tasting mustard cress, and it's actually really exciting for me to be able to see people, just their faces light up, and they're, through taste.
Yes.
And it's not just through taste, it's through looking at something that's very beautiful as well. And eventually for me, I get to then go and sit in the restaurant, and my product is then being looked after and handled and turned into a beautiful piece of edible artwork by a chef. And eventually with our tours and our tourism experience, that long term will be the goal with this property, that it's a full paddock to plate experience.
Okay.
That you can come in, that you can sample things in the gardens, that you can see how things are grown, and then you can go and have a beautiful meal with wine that the grapes are grown just out here. We may incorporate it with some sort of wine tour as well. We have our native produce that we're growing too, so incorporating all of these different things into a full experience. It's not just go out and have dinner, it's actually understanding where things come from and the effort that goes into growing them.
It's a sensory experience, something that I'm trying to develop too, because it's to me is a connection with my childhood and also my passion, like sensory, and the way of enjoy the life, not using just eyes.
Yes.
So smell, the taste, and
Yes.
so to me the life is much more interesting, more fun, and I like to transfer this fun in people when they come with me. We do
Yes,
these experiences together. So again, I see a lot of connection.
Yes,
I can see a lot of connection. Well, okay. So I think in the beginning I was thinking to ask you what was the vision, but I say that in my opinion the vision is not there, but the vision is here now, because you are already approaching what it was a dream.
Yes, yeah.
That is the stage in which this business is, from my point of view, and it's super cool. I like it, because you are on the other side at the moment, that you're established and you're trying to go back on the dream and make it happen. So it means that the market didn't bend you, and you are finding your spot, and the market will come to list, because a lot of people is looking for these things now. A lot of people is looking to travel and find sustainable experiences, and there is a thirst of knowledge, of this kind of knowledge, because now we used to go to the supermarket, get things always the same size, same color, and we don't even realize what's the huge difference and complexity that there is behind. And if we learn again on approach and appreciate these products, we are going to open again a market that was local produced, and it was sustaining a lot of family, and it was not impact from the big problems like oil or things, because it's produced locally, sold locally, and then you know where to go to get them and taste and enjoy, and you get in contact directly with people. And that is the dream, people to people, local food, and that is good. Okay, I think that was enough.
Great.
I think it was enough. So thank you very much for us coming over for
pleasure.
this interview. And I'm gonna switch a second in Italian. I'm gonna speak with them and then say bye.
All right.
Bene, spero che l'intervista vi sia piaciuta. Io penso che Scoop and Rachel, Penny's Hills, comunque quest'area McLaren Vale stia cambiando in un certo senso quello che è il turismo in Sud Australia. Spero di dare una mano nello sviluppare. Grazie per aver seguito la puntata di oggi. Mi raccomando, se volete lasciare dei messaggi potete mandarli a info@radio1adelaide.com.au, potete mandarli alla pagina Facebook, oppure potete mandarli ad AgriAdventures su simone@agriadventures.com.au, e naturalmente venite a trovare Rachel perché è qualcosa che sta iniziando ed interessante. So thank you very much, and for the people that will follow us on YouTube, if the video is still working, unless they will follow us just the radio. Thank you.
Thank you. Grazie.
Thanks. Done.
Okay, ciao.
Ciao ciao.